15 things tourists should never do in the Philippines. Traveling to the Philippines can feel like unlocking the gates to a secret paradise: unspoilt islands, sky-high mountains, lush forests, teeming wildlife, colorful festivals, and a world-class culinary scene. To help you smoothen out any misunderstandings and avoid potentially awkward moments with the locals, we've rounded up the common tourist pitfalls that you need to look out for. Number 1. Expect punctuality. Unlike most other nations that admire punctuality, the Philippines is very different. The infamous Filipino time means that a delay of 15 minutes to an hour is normal and widely accepted. So if you are meeting up with a Filipino, expect this and do not get angry. And when invited to dinner at a home, never come on time, as the hosts will not be ready and will feel that you are rushing them. Be fashionably late. Number 2. Underestimate a Filipino's sensitivity. Filipinos are generally onion-skinned, meaning to say oversensitive. It is part of their culture, so be aware of what you say so as not to insult. Even jokes may not be understood, particularly if it is about a Filipino trait. Number 3. Never disrespect their elderly. Anywhere you go, elderly people need to be respected. Respect for elders is a Filipino trait that is very powerful. They address the elders with reverence, using the words po and or por, using ate, older sister, kuya, older brother, tita, aunt, or tito, uncle, or lola, grandmother, and lolo, grandfather, regardless of blood relations, and depending on how much older they are than you. Never call them by their first names without the proper respect accorded. Number 4. Underestimate weather conditions. The humidity of the Philippines is quite high, whether dry or rainy season. And it can get hot. It is best to dress lightly to cool your skin, and expect to sweat it out. On the other hand, the rainy season can bring torrential rains and flash floods, with an average of 20 typhoons hitting the country each year. Whatever the season, be prepared. Number 5. There are times when you shouldn't take kain tayo too literally. With the expression kain tayo or let's eat, there are certain areas wherein it's easy to fall into a misunderstanding. If you run into someone you know at the mall, for instance, and they ask you if you've eaten yet, that's not necessarily an invitation to go have lunch with them right at that instant. And if you notice a beat of hesitation when they ask you to eat with them, kain tayo just might be their polite way of saying, you should eat already. Just not necessarily with me. Number 6. Don't expect everything to be super cheap. The Philippines may be one of the more budget-friendly destinations in Asia, but that doesn't mean everything is cheap. As the saying goes, nothing in life is ever free. While the Philippines may be a developing country, and the cost of living is significantly lower, the prices of restaurants, electronics, and imported luxury goods in Metro Manila might surprise you. Number 7. Don't overdo the haggling and avoid debates with vendors. One of the embarrassing things that any foreigner should avoid doing in the Philippines is fake haggle their way through outdoor markets and souvenir shops. Know the price range by walking around the area first. Always be cordial with the vendors when asking for lower prices. Don't be too aggressive, and don't haggle if you're not really planning on buying anything. Number 8. Joining rallies is illegal if you're a foreigner in the Philippines. For your own safety, steer clear of participating in any protests during your stay in the Philippines. In this press release, the Bureau of Immigration, BI, states that all foreign nationals are prohibited from participating in political rallies and mass demonstrations in the country. Number 9. Never attempt to sing My Way in karaoke bars. One of the things you must never do in the Philippines is an attempt to sing a classic song by Frank Sinatra, and here's why. At least a dozen karaoke-related murders have taken place in bars across the Philippines from 2002 to 2012, and they all lead back to the same crime, singing Sinatra's My Way out of tune. Joining a rally can get you deported out of the Philippines, but this musical violation might actually get you killed. This song has historically proven to be so fatal that bargoers will not let you finish it, their fists flying as soon as it's chosen. Number 10. Don't limit your travels to Metro Manila. With more than 7,000 islands to offer visitors, this diverse archipelago can whisk you away to places beyond your wildest dreams. That's why it's so saddening to hear so many tourists spend only a few days in Metro Manila, and call it a vacation. Beyond the smoke and traffic of the city, there are the white sands of Boracay, the crystal clear waters of El Nido, the chocolate hills of Bohol, the mellow surfing spots of Baler, the chilly summits of Baguio, the underground river of Puerto Princesa, and the staggeringly beautiful lagoons of Siargao. Number 11. Never compare the Philippines to other Asian countries. Some Filipinos do not even consider themselves as Asian, they make the distinction of being Filipino, proudly. Criticizing the Philippines against another Asian country will be taken as offensive. Especially about things like politics, religion, or even the traffic conditions, which are topics you should not discuss. Number 12. Never discuss politics or religion. Basic no-nos anywhere actually, since these two topics have very strong convictions by people. It will have no positive outcome debating issues, so best avoid it. There are so many other things to discuss. Why put yourself in a situation you may regret later on? If you are just making small talk, pick a topic that is neutral. Food is always a good topic, or something where you will tickle their pride. Number 13. Don't show much of your valuable things in public. The Philippines is a good country to travel to and the locals are really nice, but in some parts of the country like in Manila, snatchers and pickpockets are mostly everywhere. To avoid them, don't wear too many flashy things to keep you out of the snatchers' eyes. Don't use gadgets on the side streets. Always secure your personal belongings such as your bags, wallets, phones, and other personal items when visiting tourist spots, walking around, and riding public transportation. Number 14. Underestimate traffic conditions. Perennial bad traffic conditions, especially in the metropolis. And it just seems to get worse each year. Make adjustments in your schedules, especially to and from the international airport. Many public transport drivers don't follow rules, and are the normal culprits of bad jams. It is a wonder how they got their licenses. If you plan to drive, be careful always. Number 15. Misinterpret their smiles. Foreign tourists have noticed wherever they go, they are greeted by smiles. Filipinos are a friendly bunch, however smiles may have various meanings, not merely happiness. However, they smile when they are embarrassed, apologetic, confused, afraid, and so on. It is not uncommon for a Filipino to smile when committing a mistake. Different smiles for different reasons, and unless you are an expert at detecting smiling habits, it may tend to be confusing. But there is no harm in smiling back. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to this channel.